All right, welcome back to another entertainment roundup. I'm J77. Let's get started. Disney, Fox Disney, that's what they're calling it. Fine, so be it. Warner Brothers, Sony, Paramount, Lionsgate, MGM even, and United Artists have all announced their unofficial, and I say this for a reason, unofficial scheduling of films that are going to be released in 2020. Now, keep in mind, I don't have a date or anything else other than the fact that these are the films that are currently on their list. However, you got to remember that all films that are have a release date can be pushed back, it can be delayed, it can be pulled for any reason whatsoever. So these are the films that are unofficial, and I'm going to be talking about it. First off, let's get right straight down to it. Disney has a busy schedule on their hands. They have a lot of stuff that they're going to be doing, a lot of stuff that I'm actually happy, a lot of stuff that I'm actually looking forward to. At the same time, I'm also concerned. Disney has a lot on their plate, a lot of controversy behind their decision making, Spider-Man, of course, being one. And you got to wonder how certain things are going to be affected here on these films. Now, there are certain things I won't be talking about because there are films that are not on the schedule, which raise the question of what's going to happen to these films. Keep in mind, these films have been pushed back or going so far as 3 years. So I'm kind of curious of what we're going to expect and if these films will ever see a release date. My guess is no, but who knows what will happen. Let's first start with Disney. Disney so far had their D23. I will talk about some of the other stuff that was talking about in D23, including the Mandalorian trailer on this podcast, so just calm down. But I'm doing it as a movie thing, so here we go. This is mostly regarding to Marvel, but some of them are not. Black Widow is about damn time. It's getting a movie release. Artemis Fowl. Pixar Soul, Jungle Cruise. I believe that's the one with Dwayne Johnson. The one and only Ivan. So these are the films that are on Disney list. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna do a toss up with Artemis Fowl. Artemis Fowl is a very tricky one for me because Artemis Fowl has been talked about being made into a film for years. A lot of people, I seen the trailer, a little bit mixed on their reaction. They see Harry Potter. That's the whole thing. And this is very unfortunate because again, Artemis Fowl is a much different take than Harry Potter. It had nothing to do with magic or anything else than that. The fan base is huge for Artemis Fowl. Not as huge as Harry Potter, of course, but they do have a strong fan base. It is a popular bestseller book. I actually had read the second book of the series. I will admit it's not my cup of tea in terms of what they were trying to do between fairies and him being a master criminal, a teenage master criminal. But I can understand the appeal to everybody else. This was talked about being a movie for years. I mean, I'm talking about going back decades. 10 years this film was seen on the ropes. Disney had it for a while. They choose to focus more on Nadia films with Walton Media, and this was pretty much kept on the side, largely because a lot of other films that came out were not great success. In fact, some just outright bombed. And so, rather than see that happen to Artemis Fowl, they choose to just hold back. Now the Harry Potter craze is gone, and they're hoping that under their own name and their own merit, without being compared to anything else but their own film, they want to see this film succeed. I'm actually kind of curious about how they're gonna pull it off. But people who have seen the trailer still got that vibe of Harry Potter, and that's largely because of the Fantastic Beasts series, which is kind of unfair because I don't try and link that to the Harry Potter series. I know they're trying to make it through a prequel, but I think that the Fantastic Beasts is a totally different franchise altogether. Just happens to be in the Potter universe. So that's the film I'm actually looking forward to see how well that's going to do. It is a toss-up. I'm hoping it does well. If anything else, to show that this film can stand on its own 2 feet. The film that I'm really happy that they finally got announced, because earlier when I saw the announcement for the Phase 4, this was not on that list. I checked it twice. I said, let me make sure. And then finally, because I was like wondering where the hell is Black Widow in all this. She's way due for a film, and in my opinion, should have got a film before Captain Marvel did. That's pretty much my fact on that. I don't care about anything else, but I felt that if they were going to make a female superhero or a female hero film, who deserved it more was Black Widow. I thought Scarlett Johansson should have gotten it way ahead of anybody else. But nevertheless, she's here. She's got it. And I'm very happy that that Scarlett Johansson is going to have her own feature film. She have earned that right to have her own feature film, in my opinion. And Pixar's newest film, Soul. I'm actually looking forward for it. I've seen some clippings on it. I actually am impressed by it. So, you know, I have no problem with Pixar. I know people were kind of down on Pixar lately, especially with them getting the sequel bug like Disney has. But Pixar's success or failure is very, very small. So I expect something new and different with this film. That's the only one can hope. Now we go to Fox with the Disney. Oh man. Okay, so Fox Disney has recently gotten two films that are basically on their pipeline: Free Guy and Bob's Burger. That's it for now. I'm pretty sure that will change over time. I can't really say much about Free Guy. I can't say anything about Bob's Burger. But what I can say is that the film that I'm surprised is not on it, that the Cap couldn't push back, is a film that's not on this list. And I'm going to see if it's still on the release list after the aftermath of what was The Dark Phoenix. And that is New Mutants. New Mutants have been pushed back for going on now 3 years. And if what I'm thinking is true, I don't think it's got to be released in theaters. I would be stunned if it released on Disney Plus. I think it's going to be released as a Netflix film. I really do. I don't think that Fox / Disney / whoever has any confidence in this and that movie. But all you have to do is look at what you see here, and now you know what I'm talking about. This is not looking good at all for that film. And again, for all we know, it could be a good film. I know they're trying to go with horror as a new element. It's supposed to be standalone, but it's still an X-Men film. And right now, X-Men is not being well looked at right now. So this film is maybe caught in a situation where they just don't have confidence in it. Hopefully I'm wrong in it down the line, but I don't see it them changing anytime soon. Next up, we have Universal. Universal has a lineup ready to go. Candyman, which is, I think this is the new reboot that they were talking about. Kind of interesting to see what their new take on this horror film classic is. Fast and Furious 9. We have At Park Divisions, Minions, The Rise of Gru, and a film that I think this is the last one, especially after a couple of films that they have done, as well as a mini-series, The Final Purge. So there you have it with this lineup. I'm actually looking this forward for Fast and Furious 9 because I want to see where they will go. But it pretty much ended in the cliffhanger, pretty much. So I want to see where it's going to lead to. I don't see them slowing down. But most importantly, I want to see how the effects of Faithful Furious as well as Hobbs & Shaw had with this film. Keep in mind, the stories that you're getting behind the scenes are not very good. There was a lot of issues that was going through with these movies, and I'm kind of wondering if that will affect the films going forward. John Cena is reportedly supposed to be in this film, so it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this franchise. Warner Brothers have released some of their lineup. Tenet, In the Heights, Wonder Woman 1984, which was actually pushed back a year, and Scoop. Hopefully I said that name right. I know people will definitely get on me if I didn't. Wonder Woman, no doubt, I want to see. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with this. 1984 feels like a film that's going to be good, especially when they're basically press the reset button on the DC universe. They pretty much already solidifies that Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Shazam are going to be part of this new phase that they're going to go through. I'm actually liking how they've done it right now. But most importantly, I'm actually looking forward for a sequel to how Wonder Woman is going to be played again by Gal Gadot. And how they're going to tell the story here. I'm actually looking forward for this film. I'm looking forward for this more than anything that was going to be coming out in 2020 thus far. Sony got their lineup ready to go. Morbius. And we also have Escape Room 2, Ghostbusters. Surprisingly enough, from most of the unofficial schedule that I got here, none of them say Ghostbusters 3. It just says Ghostbusters. So I'm wondering, are they rebooting it again, or is there something else going on? But it does say Ghostbusters on the lineup. Greyhound also. Ghostbusters Escape Room. I've seen the first one, liked the first one. I don't know how they're going to do with the second one. But I do know that Ghostbusters is a film with a lot of controversy behind it. Unjust, if I may ask, from people who try to politicize a film about a bunch of people making ghosts. Again, Fig did not do any favors with this film either. He got involved with most of that nonsense, which turned me off. And the people saying that if you don't like this film, you're a sexist, racist, all this nonsense. Which I said, you know what? I'm going to wait to get on DVD because you guys are a bunch of idiots. I'm not getting in a political war about a film about a bunch of people chasing ghosts all over Manhattan. It's just not gonna happen. No, you're not gonna make me into a. You ain't gonna politicize this film for me, and that's really what's kept me away from that. Paramount. How many SpongeBob movies they got right now? Because I'm confused on what number this is. They made how many SpongeBob movies, and for some reason they don't put SpongeBob as part 3, 4, and 5. But nevertheless, SpongeBob movies coming out. That's pretty much the Nickelodeon division. Top Gun Maverick, which I did see the trailer. Was impressed by the trailer. Not excited, but I am impressed. We have Infinite and Rumble. So obviously, SpongeBob, if you're a Nickelodeon fan, it's definitely going to be something. And of course, those who was waiting for years for another Top Gun film, you finally got your wish. The trailer was out. Top Gun Maverick is heading to our theaters. Not much from these two studios, so I'm just gonna go right real quick on here. Lionsgate is doing a Saw reboot. They didn't give you any details of what's about that. I am stunned that they're actually doing a Legally Blonde 3 from MGM. And you have the Bill and Ted Face the Music, which has been in the works, along with another project that Keanu Reeves is going to be doing. I am actually, out of the 3 films I'm saying here, I'm nothing against Legally Blonde 3. I think it ended with 1. They should have just not made any more from that. I don't even talk about that other sequel that was directed to video. Saw, I honestly, they should have just kept it at 1. I felt that dragging this series out was just unnecessary. But they are rebooting it. Doesn't mean I'm actually excited to see it. And to me, after what happened with Jigsaw, I'm done with it. But the film I'm not done with, and I am curious in how they're going to do it, because there were so many stories outlining what this film is, and that is Bill and Ted Face the Music. A lot of people are nervous because they feel it's not going to be Bill and Ted, but their daughters who was going to pick up the mantle. I'm not too sure that's the case, but one thing everybody is saying is that the time did not happen for them. Everything that was supposed to happen with them being this messiah and this great innovators and everything else never happened. Right now, and that was largely because they was too busy being a father and everything else. Life has been strenuous. So this is pretty much when the supposed to be messiah of the future finally takes shape, which hence why it's called Face the Music. I'm actually looking forward to seeing this film. I could be wrong, but a lot of people are saying that this is pretty much what if everything they went through in the first 2 films never transpired. And that actually got me interested about this film. So that's your lineup right there. I'm actually excited to see some of these films. Not so excited for a lot of films, but nevertheless, that is the unofficial list. Like I said before, it can change. These films that they're saying is coming out may never come out. Like I said, I'm not too sure Saw is going to come out that in 2020. If it is, it will probably be nothing new to be seen. Legally Blonde 3, I mean, surprisingly, it's not called Legally Blonde 4, but then again, I don't think they count the director, the DVD film, where they had the, I believe, nieces or cousins on the other ones, Legally Blondes. Yeah, then we don't talk about that one. Again, I'm more concerned about the Disney, Fox Disney. Only 2 films, really. Really? You want to make reboots of Home Alone and everything else, but you don't want to. But only two films come out in the whole theater, and one film that actually been on the shelf on delay is long enough. You don't have even confidence to put that in there. Come on. I mean, I know MGM and Lionsgate it's only listed one film so far next year, but come on, this is Fox. Come on, Disney. Let's not do this. Universal's have more films coming out, and these are all films that we know of. We didn't even talk about the films that we didn't know of. We don't know of yet. So there you go. I'm gonna do. Speaking of which, I want to do an actual official lineup down the road. To me, it's too soon to do that for 2020. But like I said before, these are some of the films that are just that are unofficially been announced as being released in 2020. Another film that has not been announced, and you would think they would from United Artists or MJ or both, because they're both affiliated with the same company, is Bond. Bear in mind, it coming out on April 2020, and it's not even on this list. That shows you right there. No Time to Die. So I don't know. To me, it's just weird that they come out with a list like this and not really give us the full list. But then again, maybe they are. Maybe they did a made official list somewhere. When I find it, I'll definitely let you know. What I can tell you is this D23 so far has been a success. Despite the Spider-Man situation, a lot of people are excited for a lot of properties that Disney is coming out with. Disney Plus, especially. There's a lot of Marvel property they want to do that a lot of people has been talking about doing this Phase 4 project. A lot of property I didn't even know existed. So I'm actually looking forward. This will be a pretty much introduction for Star Wars fan, The Mandalorian, which I did see the trailer, and I must say I am very impressed of the dark tone they have decided to go from. I will say with Disney, they despite the fact they try to keep it colorful, when it's dark, it is dark. And this one definitely has that feel. Nice to see Carl Weathers get some work for a change. I haven't seen him since his days as being, in Action Jackson and in Rocky 4. So seeing him in this in this new role, in a Star Wars role no less, is definitely interesting. The guy who played in Breaking Bad looked like he's going to be a bounty hunter. He's definitely like something not to toy with. So I'm glad to see him in this. The people that's questioning is that person behind that popular helmet Boba Fett? I do not know. My gut says yes, but for what we know, it could be somebody else. And the reason why I say that is because, number one, the Boba Fett helmet was not spanking new. All right, it pretty much, I believe, from what I understand, was the helmet of his father, and that helmet is old and crusty and old. So we don't know if that is actually Boba Fett. I'm pretty much doubt that he's the only one that has that helmet, but who knows? But it does give us a feel that this is going to be. It's not going to be for the warm of heart. And I will say about how they do these properties with Disney, and these on the TV level, whether it's animated or live, mostly animated, they don't hold back. Which always scratched my head is why Lucas was holding back on giving us that dark, gritty film. They don't hold back in the animation. Why should you hold back in the films? I'm just saying that it does sound kind of weird. But nevertheless, people are talking about this. People are actually happy to see this. And another announcement is one of our favorite characters from the prequels is making a comeback as well. Ewan McGregor will reprise his role as Obi-Wan, and people are excited about that. People wanted to see some kind of Obi-Wan storyline for a long time. There were fanfic trailers about the whole character, so people are excited to see that. So far, from what I've been seeing from Disney's, with the releases that has been known to us and some of the stuff they're working on now, it does look like they're on the right track in terms of their streaming service. Now, their movies, it depends. I mean, I'm being honest with you, not many people are thrilled about their live-action Disney films. I know there's a Lady in the Tramp trailer I've got to take a look at. The Mulan films are coming out. They're even still working on Little Mermaid. And these films, it's not just one a year. It's like almost 4 films are coming out a year. This year alone, how many films we had? Let's see. Let's count the ways now. We had We had Dumbo. We had Aladdin. We had The Lion King. That's 3 films this year that were live action. 3. That's a lot of live action films. And we're not even including the Pixar Toy Story films. So, yeah, people are mixed with that. And that really brings my concern to the Star Wars franchise. And I'll explain a little later, but they do have a lot of films on the works for 2020. A lot of live action films for 2020. And I'm looking forward for Lady and the Tramp. No. I'll be honest with you, no. And the reason why I didn't really care for the movie when it came out the first time. This will not make me care about the film again. If anything, it's going to make it look creepier because I know that's not a real live dog doing that. So, it's not something I'm thrilling for. I'm not even looking forward for Little Mermaid. And I love Little Mermaid movie. I love that more than I think that most of the Renaissance films that came out. The only other film I put high on my list is Beauty and the Beast. But I'm not looking forward for the live action film. And to me, I think it's more to do with this is a different film for a different generation. If I think you'll like this more if you didn't see the animation films, and that's fine. But to me, I don't feel that this is necessary. No, I say I, not everybody else. But they're all making it, and because the reason why, it brings in the cash cow. It brings in capital for them. They're going to keep making it. Unless these films stop bringing the capital, they're not going to, they won't stop. My question is, how they choose to do the Star Wars going forward. And I think that out of all the backlash that happened, especially what's going on with their carnival rides, Star Wars Galaxy isn't doing as well as they hoped for, which leading to a lot of cuts and layoffs and other controversy that has been mentioning. I think that this actually affected them a lot more than what I think they want to believe, because they actually wanted to do the same way it was doing with their live action film, and that is run an assembly line style production. And that's not always good. I mean, to this, I don't think it works well as Star Wars. I feel if Star Wars can work with Disney, and by the way, for the record, I do not regret Disney having Star Wars. I think they can do a very, very good job if they leave 2 things alone. One, throw the politics out the window. Alright, don't get involved with any political views about these films. Just make the film, make it enjoyable, make it fun. The fans will come. The biggest mistake Kathleen Kennedy has made, as well as the directors, is they got into this political war with the fans. Not directly, but in a way that pretty much rubbed people the wrong way. It rubbed me the wrong way. Let's be realistic. And I respect Kathleen Kennedy. She's been around the business for years. All the way going back to the Back to the Future franchise. To the Indiana Jones franchise. She's no stranger to this, come through this business. But some of the stuff here just rubbed me the wrong way. From her saying that the fans did not understand Luke Skywalker, which is ridiculous, to basically just trying to make it more of an SJW message in the film of a galaxy far, far away. You don't need to do that. Alright? That's one of the reasons why I didn't really care about Rose. The character, not the actress. I want to make that very clear. The actress I've never had a problem with. I didn't leave any stupid hate mail like some of these clowns did. But I'm not going to lie. That Rose, the character, how she was written, did not appeal to me whatsoever. And to me, I don't need a character preaching to me what is right and wrong. You want to talk about what is right and wrong? Show me through visuals. Show me through the story that you're trying to produce. And I think this is where The Last Jedi, one of the problems with The Last Jedi had, is they try to preach something they should never have had no business preaching. And number 2, I'm going to be honest with you, not having a sense of direction. There should have been no way that one film pretty much canceled out the other film. And that's exactly what The Last Jedi did. It pretty much was like part 3, but in part 2. It felt like that. And that was due because, in my belief, Rian Johnson wanted to do his own take on Star Wars. He wanted to make his own trilogy. In fact, the story was that he was supposed to do a Star Wars trilogy. Well, that didn't work out so well, did it? Because not only did this trilogy get canceled, but it pretty much caused a debacle, which hopefully J.J. Abrams was able to fix with his Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. At least one can hope. Because a lot of stuff there was a lot of missed opportunities. with this film. A lot of missed opportunity. And here's the thing, I didn't think the film was bad. I thought I actually had some fun with the film, despite a lot of its problems. I don't think it was great like the critics were saying. I did agree with those who didn't like with the film, because a lot of stuff that they was doing just, it didn't click with me. The biggest crime was how they treated Luke Skywalker. There was no reason for Luke Skywalker to be treated that way. And Mark Hamill, if he did not have any respect for this franchise before, he really don't have respect for the franchise now. In his eyes, he's done with Star Wars. So that's kind of sad how bitter he became when this movie. It really is. But this is the prime example of why one shouldn't make a film like an assembly line. Say what you want about George Lucas. Say what you want about how the prequels came out. Which, by the way, P.S., full disclaimer, didn't think the prequels were that bad. I thought the prequels were underwhelming, but I didn't think it was terrible. And those who say it was terrible and it was horrible, it was the biggest abomination of all the Star Wars franchise. Can I ask you one question? Why you like Cuba McGregor so much as Obi-Wan? Like I said, there was some good things that came out of it. Say one about Hayden Christensen, at least with that I can say that what lacked in his script, and I think it was the script, not more of his acting. I think there was a lack of direction, which I put solely on Lucas, no question about it. But the stuff that worked with Hayden Christensen actually worked in my eyes. I think that by his visual, how he chose to do his facial expression, the anger he resonates, his resentment towards the Jedi Council, as well as from time to time Obi-Wan, really did show the face of Vader. I really felt that that he handled it well. I'm not going to argue about Luke Skywalker, about how they did Obi-Wan. Hey, people loved him. That's why he's back, and that's why people embrace him with open arms and was glad to see him come back in a role that honestly he claimed for himself. No question. If you Alex Gillis will always be the old wise Obi-Wan, but in terms of the Obi-Wan we grew up with, a lot of fans said that's our guy. He earned that role. Can we honestly say that the film was so bad, but that the Emperor was so good? I really did enjoy Palpatine in his movies. How conniving he was. How he played both sides. How sneaky he was. That was pure brilliance from a great actor who did that role. And the one thing I will say about films, about the prequels, like it or not, I actually felt I was in this galaxy far, far away. But it wouldn't have probably happened if Luke did not have a vision to where he wants to go. Of course, he made some changes. There's no question about that. I'm not going to sit there and argue that there was some changes down the road, especially with Jar Jar. Out of all the people, I think Jar Jar was the most hated character in the whole entire Star Wars franchise. I remember people actually writing to the Daily News saying they loved the film but wish they could have a computer so they can delete Jar Jar because he was the most annoying character. Personally, I wasn't surprised he was there. I mean, if you want to be honest, that really was set up way before the prequels even came out with the Return of the Jedi, the Ewoks. You know why the Ewok was there. You knew why they was being painted heavily. It was meant for the children audiences because Lucas, whether you guys know it or not, did not like The Empire Strikes Back. How ironic that is. The most successful and most critically acclaimed film for both critics up to that point and fans. Fans absolutely loved that film. It's the one that George Lucas hated the most and wanted to tone it down. And that's why we got the Ewoks. The Ewoks even got their own films. 2 of them, at least. Granted, they were made for TV, but they're still films. But that was already set up right at that time. And unfortunately, fans didn't take too well from it. Fans even call it racist, which I honestly wasn't looking for it. I didn't even give him much thought. I knew he was not a character I cared for, but it didn't drove that much hatred than the other fans. The other fans hated this character to the point where you had to change it and make him less relevant to the franchise than what he originally planned for. Honestly, I don't know what he had planned for Jar Jar if he would have kept the course with Jar Jar Banks. I really don't. But I do know it was not possible for him to keep that character, knowing the hate he had for a character. He toned him down a bit. I mean, he made it very. He didn't make any friends when we realized that it was Johnson who gave him. They gave Palpatine the final vote, but he was nowhere to be found until the very end when Padme's funeral happened. So, if out of all the things that people hate the most, I think it was Jar Jar. Funny thing about it is, over the past 10 years, Jar Jar has gotten more popular than ever before. I mean, there were memes made out of him. In many ways, he was in a lot of stuff that really parodies. He was even in Robot Chicken, and many times he became a popular character. So a guy who was actually the most hated figure in Star Wars to still have this much popularity years later after these people was made really says it must have been George Lucas must have done something right. Because normally when you're that hated, you don't be talking about the film after that. He gets more pop than Qui-Gon did, and I actually thought Qui-Gon was a fascinating character. Still do. But even he don't get that much love or attention in terms of memes and parodies and everything else than Jar Jar. In many ways, Jar Jar is just as much popular now than he was when he came out. I'm just saying, I mean, you can look it up yourself, but you'd be surprised how many stuff that's Jar Jar related is out there, and especially YouTube. But besides that, besides everything I just said here, George Lucas with the original trilogy and even with the prequels had a blueprint of where this film was going to go. You may not like that blueprint that he's done, but at least he had a plan and he went through it from the beginning all the way to the middle, all the way to the end. Disney did not have a blueprint for this trilogy. They just didn't. It started out with J.J. Abrams. Okay, fine. He passed the ball to Rian Johnson. He was supposed to carry on with the series. But Rian Johnson, right at the very beginning, tore all that stuff and threw it aside. He just said, I'm not going to go through this. I'm not going to go with this. I'm just going to tear it up. And we're going to start from here. And I think that really much ruined the continuity as well as the focus of this film. More than anything else. And a lot of this has to do with the fact I do believe he wanted to make his own trilogy, and the only way he felt to do it is by basically killing off some of the old guard of the old films. And I felt that was not a wise decision to do. Now, to be fair, Kathleen Kennedy had a big stake on that. Right? And that was very, very clear. That Kathleen Kennedy wanted Luke Skywalker to die. Why? Because, number one, again, this attitude that female audiences will not understand Star Wars. And I felt that was a naive thing to say, and I thought it was stupid, and it really showed that she really did not understand the fan base of these films. Men and female love Luke Skywalker. And the fact that she had treated this character really bad, I mean, there's no way around it. It really deflected on what they wanted to do. They wanted to have their own take on Star Wars. And it backfired on them. Let's be realistic here. Let's be honest. They wanted to do their own take. They didn't want you guys to celebrate the old guard that brought Star Wars in the forefront. They wanted to have their new characters in. And they forgot that by doing that, you're basically alienating your fans. Nothing against the new Star Wars series, nothing against the new crew. I have no problem with them doing a film strictly on a different take of Star Wars in a different galaxy far, far away with a brand new characters. But once Disney put Han Solo, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker in their new trilogy, then I got news for you. Even though you got new characters, guess what? People are still going to latch on to the older characters because A, they didn't see them for years and they still love these characters. And B, they want to know what happened to these characters over the course of 30 years. The last thing they want to see is seeing these characters treated in a way that it seemed to be second fiddle or tossed to the side like they didn't matter. It does matter. Star Wars Galaxy, biggest problem is they have new characters that A, not many people really care about, and B, let's be realistic, people want to see. They should have implemented some of the old guards. And in fact, I think they're going to start doing it now, especially if ticket sales are not as what it seems to be. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that Disney wants to do their own spin. And again, I have no problem with that. Do it. But don't do it at the expense of disrespecting or dismantling everything that these cast members have done. Luke Skywalker's death, as well as just how they presented him, didn't do any service to anybody, including Mark Hamill, who was talking to the director and telling them this is not what people want to see, and he was right. He was absolutely right. And Rian Johnson, not saying he's totally wrong, said you can't always listen to the fans because the fans don't know what they want. Well, guess what? Fans have spoken, and they've spoken loud. And it not only affected the reputation of the Star Wars brand, but it affected a movie that really had nothing to do with the craziness that was The Last Jedi. And my concern about this is very much deep. If you're gonna have this franchise, you gotta give something that nobody ever seen before, or something that people care for, or have a new spin on it, without having to disrespect the original series. You can't treat the Star Wars franchise as an assembly line. There's nothing wrong with having a Star Wars every 3 years. I think the one thing that Lucas did right, he did it great, is he had a Star Wars film and he let it sit and rest. Yes, people was talking about it, but everybody recognized there will not be another Star Wars film for another 3 years. And if you're going to have another Star Wars film between those times, it has to be something different. I'm a little tired of these prequel things right now. I don't want to know what's going on with Solo. I don't care. Rogue One succeeded because, I'm being honest with you, it was a tie-in, and people did want to know how the hell these plans came into to the hands of the rebels. And I think they did it right. But honestly, I want this franchise to go forward and not backwards. I felt this film has always been going back in the past and not actually doing anything that's going forward. And I feel that's the whole thing. I think Star Wars works best when Star Wars have a film out and there's a rest period between those films. Not film and then keep throwing all these films right after that, one after the other. Doesn't always work that way. But again, I feel that they gotten themselves back on track. I feel they can redeem the franchise. I don't think the franchise is dead like everybody else is saying. And I'm looking forward to seeing how The Rise of Skywalker works out. I am not paying attention to a lot of these videos that said that it's dead, it's going to fail. You don't know that. Is there a buzz for this film as it was when the first two films come out? No, not really. But I guarantee if the second trailer comes out, the third trailer, I guarantee people are going to talk about it, just like they're talking about these stuff with The Mandalorian. The important thing is, I think they need to recognize you can't make every film in your property an assembly line film. It just doesn't work. Not with Star Wars. Make a film, let it be dormant for a few years, then continue to make another one. Trust me when I say it, I think you'll get more development progress done than just making a film. and all of them are going to be worse than the other because you can tell that it's not being made with the proper storyline because they didn't have the time. They didn't have the time to put the structure, what's going on between the two films. It doesn't work. And with that being said, I think they can do it. First thing you have to do is also recognize, and I think they have been doing this, because you haven't really heard any words from Kathleen Kennedy since she signed that new contract, which I know a lot of fans of Star Wars are not happy with, but let's be honest. Her success record is just too good for them to let go from one bomb. That she's not going to get fired. And I was kind of surprised and pretty much in a disagreement that she should have been fired for Solo. What I think she should do is just focus on producing films and not getting involved with the political nonsense and staying off the camera of the political nonsense. Your job should be just focusing on making sure these films are in the quality that they need to be, making sure money is not being wasted, and making sure these films come out on time. As a producer, that should be one of your major functions. Not going out, throwing out political agenda, because again, when it comes to political agenda, people really don't want to hear it. People get turned off very quickly, especially if it leads to a fight between Star Wars fans or just fans in general. Look what happened to Ghostbusters. Look what's even happened to Captain Marvel, which to be fair, it was done mostly by the actors, not the audience. But people don't want that kind of nonsense. People want to enjoy their films for what they are. And as a producer, she has a great track record. Like I said, she's been around in the 80s. She's not new to this business. But as far as anything else concerned, we don't really want to hear that kind of stuff. It's good that you want to have women in power. I have no problem with that. Like I said before, I'm happy that Black Widow is getting her movie. She should have gotten it years ago. But to me, in terms of what her job is, don't get involved in that nonsense. Promote the film. Talk great about the films. Talk great about the TV series that you guys have. And you should be proud about the TV series because people want to see this. The Mandalorian, people want to see this. The Obi-Wan, people definitely want to see it. But just stay away from the other political nonsense that can really turn off fans to your brand. That's all. Get an idea what you want to do with these films. Get the right directors. Make sure that the drama is kept to the minimum, and make a good film. And that's all I got to say about that. Like I said before, with this whole list of lineups here, it's only a fraction of it. We don't know the full detail of it. Like I said, Fox already got 2 films out. I seriously doubt Fox got 2 films coming out. I'm not buying into that. But I do know that Disney have a lot in store. They got a lot of stuff going on for the Disney Plus channel. The question is, will people will buy the Disney Plus channel? Will they actually buy that streaming service? I honestly don't know. I don't know if that's going to be enough to convince people to spend whatever money to spend. I do know, and I will talk about this at a later date, that it is slowly starting to become a new trend in terms of how we get our services. I do believe Netflix is in a bit of a trouble, but for reasons I will explain otherwise. But it's also a question, how much is too much when it comes to these streaming? And I'll bring that up in a different date. Because again, I think that when you look at these streaming services, eventually one or two things are going to happen. One, these services will basically come together under a bundle of another services, and that will be the new cable. I don't see how this practice is going to last long, because again, why would someone pay $79 for one service, and then God knows how much for Disney, another service, and then that pretty much will put them in a situation where, which one do I choose? We got Paramount, we got Disney, we got Hulu, we got Netflix, we got DC. You know, all these services. Are we willing to really fork out all this money just to have these services on our computer or on our TV? Or would it be better if somebody come up with a bundle like cable does and have one low rate? I don't see it being a cable style service anytime soon. I think Disney wants to do their own thing and reap all the rewards, as well as every other streaming service out there. Can't really blame them for that. But it's only going to... The thing about having a streaming service and traditional television is that television, as well as cable, can reach a wider audience. It's where your streaming service is going to be limited to your description. If you have, let's just say, put a ballpark figure, 1 million subscribers, I can tell you right now, not 1 million people are going to be watching Titans on stream. Not 1 million subscribers is going to watch, say, like Star Wars Mandalorian on stream. There may be a couple of thousands, but not 1 million. And I'm saying that because, number one, you got to look at that ratio. Is having 1,000 views on a episode of a Star Wars show justifies the millions of dollars it costs it will go to make that show? That's including review, that's including whatever commercials, which is not which is going to be commercial free. Is it going to be justified? Keep in mind what happened with DC with Swamp Thing, which I haven't talked about. Swamp Thing, I was actually wondering how that's going to be good, because Swamp Thing is a show that never was done right in the movies, in my opinion. But to see what the stuff they was doing, I was looking, seeing, oh, it's really good. I may have bought it if anything else. Just check this show out. Canceled for financial reasons. Now it didn't shake off DC a bit. They're still doing the shows, but again, how many subscribers they're going to have for this service, and can that description, along with those who are actually going to review these shows, going to justify keeping these shows? So again, it brings a new issue that I don't think people ever thought about when it comes to streaming service, is that the streaming are at the mercy of the subscribers that actually subscribe to their service and buy their services. Whereas for TV, whether free TV or cable TV, they have a much broader range to reach people. That's the advantage cable has on streaming service right now. They do have that broader range. They don't have to worry about subscribers. They just get the views, and as long as the views and the product that they're selling on the views do well, the show will continue. Here is a different ball game. The rating here is the Nielsen rating. You can't really compare the Nielsen ratings on stream. Stream is a different ball game. So this is something that you have to take into account when it comes to streaming services. My hope is that Disney Plus do well. They have shown a lot of good things in their conference that I actually respect. But I'd be lying to you if I felt that there are a lot of stuff that I feel generally concerning about, namely because of description. And they're not the only ones either. Netflix has been getting hit. Shows that's been getting canceled. Good shows that actually have a great fan base and great acclaim. And that's largely because they have a lot of shows they've been paying a lot of shows and movies. But if the viewership is not there to view these things, it's going to be hard to justify keeping them on, even if the show is good. But we'll get to all that Netflix in another video. I wanted to get on this one. I want to talk about that one. And your opinion on the Disney, as well as all the other studios' releases that they announced. Now, keep in mind, this is not the official, so I will be going back on this to give you guys official list of films that are supposed to be coming out. Films that I may be looking forward to and maybe not looking forward to. So look for that. I also got other topics that I just recently posted on the Entertainment Roundup. I got the midweek adventure. This is the weekend edition, of course, and basically other stuff that's coming up as well. I'm going to be keeping an eye on some films that may get a release date officially. I'm also going to keep an eye on the Bond franchise now that it's actually picking up some steam. I will be talking also about AEW and WWE. My true feelings on that on a later date, probably on the next Entertainment Roundup episode. Because to be honest with you, AEW got me into loving wrestling again. I always loved wrestling. I have stopped for a good 4 years. And a lot of it had to do wasn't really what was going on with me personally, because wrestling has not got me excited. There was just not enough appeal to it. I've seen every storyline I could possibly imagine, and it really wasn't as high quality as I remember when I was little, or even when I was a young adult. AEW changed that, and it changed it for the better, because not only am I interested in seeing what AEW is going to do, like the old days of WCW, but it also got me saying, okay, well, this is what AEW is doing. What are you doing, WWE? Let me see what you guys have in store, and got me interested in the talent they have. So I will be talking about that as well. My feelings towards WWE. Not a bad thing, don't worry, but it is concerning about what stuff they're taking in terms of and how they actually got to where they are. Plus, I think people have forgotten why Vince chose to control a lot of stuff over the past years. It's really had more to do with the stuff that's going on that off the camera, the lawsuits that they're facing, the criticism that they're getting from all different sources that forced him to actually make the decision that he's been doing. Now, will he ever go back to the era that he's done? I will get to that situation, but if you want my idea, spoiler, no, and I'll give you that reason why. But until then, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, trying to get back onto it. I know I've jumped certain topics before, but there was actually a reason, because I wanted to make a better connection towards what the actual issue with me with Disney was. Again, if you put a gun in my head and I say, do I regret Disney having Star Wars? The answer is no. I think they can do the job. I think the trailer of the Mandalorian show, they can do the job. I just think they need to focus on that job and not try to make it as politically correct or just basically, impressing a group of people that, in all honesty, and this is my opinion, don't really care about films. They're just here to push an agenda. And oftentimes, it doesn't end well with the films or with the fans who love these films. And that's one of the main things I will talk about in other length about my feelings and why I don't side with either anti-SJW or SAW. But that's a vlog video. I'll talk about that later. But until then, guys, love to hear your feedback. Love to hear what you got to say. Love to hear your opinion on the matter and what film you're also looking forward to seeing in the year 2020. But until then, J77 saying take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.